The Cuban government is still in a legal battle trying to reclaim and take back the Cuban cigar brand names that is being sold here in the U.S. This is Gus One Bear. You are in the Bear's Den. Alright guys, if you haven't yet, if you please, it really helps out the channel. Alright, let's get to it. Alright, this video is going to be in 3 parts. The first part of the video, I am going to show you from the oldest to the youngest Cuban cigar brands and their labeling. I'm going to talk a little about the New World and Old World aspects. Okay, this is why we have these terms. And the actual Cuban cigar makers that fled Cuba to establish their brand in the US. And then the third part, I'm going to reveal the world's oldest Cuban cigar brand. All right, so let's get to it.
Jose Piedra, 1880s. Ramon Allones, 1834. Punch, 1840. Uman, 1845. Partagas, 1844. Vegas Robina, 1845. Romeo y Julieta, 1865. Juan Lopez, 1875. Hoyo de Monterrey, 1876. El Rey del Mundo, 1882. Cano, 1884. La Gloria Cubana, 1885. Fonseca, 1892. Bolivar, 1902. Quintero, 1924. Rafael Gonzalez, 1930s. Monte Cristo, 1935. St. Louis Rey, 1940. Cohiba, 1966. Diplomático, 1966. Guava, 1996. Guay de Orsay, 1973. San Cristobal de la Habana, 1999.
All right, so before the Cuban Revolution, the Cuban cigar industry was made up of many independent manufacturers. All right, in 1960, Fidel Castro's revolutionary government took over all private companies and cigar factories. The government controls all tobacco growing and cigar production in Cuba. So this takeover, which made many cigar makers to fled the country, taking their knowledge, their craft, and their family legacy. Some of Cuba's best in the tobacco industry made it right here in Miami, Florida. All right, so let's show you the different companies that actually made it to the US and were able to trademark their names.
Monte Cristo, Partagas, H. Upman, La Gloria Cubana, Hoyo de Monterrey, Punch, Romeo and Julieta, Cohiba, Raymond Alones, and the last but not least, Jose Piedra.
So many of the names that you just saw are the same big names that's in Cuba. But the brand and the tobacco is established here in the US, meaning the tobacco is grown in many parts of South America. So the Cuban government is doing everything in their powers to take back and reclaim the Cuban cigar brand names that they have in Cuba and to stop the sales of these Cuban cigar brands here in the US. They believe these names are rightfully theirs, and this is why we have Old World cigars, which are cigars made in Cuba, versus the New World cigars. All these names, Monte Cristo, Cohiba. I mean, Cohiba, that was Fidel Castro's puppy. That was his brand. And the fact that the Cohiba here in the States, boy, they're not happy at all. So that's a little bit of the history. This is why you have Old World Cohibas, New World Cohibas. All right, guys, the moment you've been waiting for. Let's reveal the oldest Cuban brand known. And that is Francisco Cabañas in Cuba. The brand goes back all the way from 1797. And that is the oldest Cuban cigar brand. But there's an older historical fact. According to records, the oldest Cuban cigar is considered to have originated from the indigenous people of Cuba, and that is the Taino Indians, who were the very first to roll and smoke tobacco leaves, which Christopher Columbus encountered when he landed on the island in 1492. And this Indian tribe, they call this precious tobacco Cohiba in their native language. Well, does that ring a bell? Cohiba cigar brand. This is the whole labeling behind it. So this is why the Cuban Cohiba brand in labeling has the Indian head and Cohiba's tobacco in the Taino Indian language. So there you go. Some fun facts. And guys, if you're wondering, is there such thing as Cuban cigars here in the US? Well, you got to check out this video. This is Gus One Bear. Y'all take care. Big hugs and many blessings. And see y'all the next time.